My name is Adrienne Thomas, and I'm with Sisters We.
My name is Prime Hendrix, and I'm with Just Planet Organization.
My name is Jaymie Leslie, and I'm an artist.
My name is Jessica Bruny. I'm with Music Changing Lives.
I am a native of California and a native of San Bernardino. So I grew up here, been back and forth. I lived in San Diego for a while and then moved back here to San Bernardino, raised my children here, and did most of my living in my party years here in San Bernardino. But for the most part, tended to have things that San Bernardino forgot. And now I'm looking to bring something back to it. After walking away and living in other places, San Bernardino has potential, and that's what I'm looking for. I'm looking to bring something back to San Bernardino.
And for me, it was, I came back this way because my dad, he was dealing with cancer. So I was here to take care of my dad. He lived in Loma Linda. And, I just started, driving to the stores and, just, knowing the area. And at the time, I was working in Venice Beach. So that drive was killer. And so I decided to move here. And I've been here like 6, 7 years now. I think like something like that, 5 years. I think what's interesting about it is that, you can look with your eyes and see the truth rather than hearing lies. And I think the city has been going through a lot. And I think there's a lot of people that are in charge of this city that don't care about the people that live here because they're not from here. They don't live here. So I've seen an opportunity to bring back more empowerment within the communities and to really try to push the agenda of sustainable living and providing organic food to the underserved community. And, it's been good so far, for sure.
I am a lifelong resident of the Inland Empire, or I shouldn't say lifelong, but I've lived most of my life in the Inland Empire. And I'm an artist, and I have created an installation called God's Waiting Room. And the intention of God's Waiting Room is to create meditation spaces all around the world where people can come and hope and manifest and just really feel worthy for the things that they want out of life. And I had an opportunity to set up a waiting room in one of Prime's gardens. And it's here close by in San Bernardino. And so we built a planter bench and are in the process of elevating that area and space to be a garden for the community to come to and meditate and pick fruits and vegetables and herbs and things like that. So that's what brought me to San Bernardino specifically. I think that it's a community of really interesting people. I had a really interesting childhood, and I think that folks who are neglected deserve to feel like they're worthy. And I don't think that the residents of San Bernardino get that enough. So I'd like to create that space for them.
Well, I actually went to school here, so shout out to all my Yodis if you are from Cal State San Bernardino. I'm a graduate from 2016 with a psychology major, but it's been a full circle moment. I am a program director with Music Changing Lives, and we now serve the community up on 40th. And so we have a resource center being able to provide food for the community with a drive-through. And it's been really neat to be able to see how such a pivotal moment during the pandemic that we were able to provide access, which is a necessity of life. And so this has been really neat to be able to see the seeds being planted here and also be able to provide space for the community.
So for me, my values are big in respect. I think just respecting space, respecting others, respecting, the land that was here before us, and I think, what encourages that is just, you get what you put out there, So I think, like she was saying, like Jaymie was saying, we put a bench at the garden, and this is a public space. This is where anybody can see, anybody can walk on, and nobody has graffitied or taken anything or broken anything. And that's a sign of respect. They respect what we're doing, so they're respecting the space. So I would have to say definitely respect is what's encouraging right now.
Yeah, I would say mine would be the beauty of the whole thing, the garden, the beauty of seeing the different settings that come about in a garden, the colors, for me, the sequestering of the trees and everything that goes into just being able to go out and work and knowing that people will come and respect you, will come in and respect the things that you've put out there. Because we all know that here in San Bernardino, there's a lot of homeless out here who do destroy our things and, think nothing of it. I don't think intentionally sometimes, but there are those. But for me, it would be the beauty of the whole thing that, they do give us that respect.
I think for myself, what motivates my work is just, I want people to feel loved and I want people to feel worthy. And, in this project, so many people have related it to religion, and I'm not necessarily a religious person. I grew up in a very religious environment, but just different life experiences taught me that you have to find God for yourself, and you cannot let a book define the way that you love people. And I want people to feel love from me, not because I was commanded, but because it's genuine. And I want them to receive that. I want them to receive the empowerment that comes from love. I think we've all been in, it's kind of like when you get into a new relationship and you're like, oh, okay, I have a little confidence now, like me and my little team. And there's an empowerment that comes from feeling loved. And so I want people to just, I want people to know that God is real based on how I loved them and based on the things that I created for them to receive. And that's my intention.
Yeah. Something I value is really family. I come from a very large family. I was the youngest of 14 individuals. And, even to say about the statement, right? I'm my wildest, my ancestors' wildest dreams. We come from Haiti, and I know what it means to fight for freedom, to fight for respect, to fight for creativity. But I also know that music and art is the universal language as well. And so to be able to do the work and to be able to be a musician at a very young age, but also to see that full circle and give it back to the community, to also empower the youth, that they can also find the light that's within them, to make them thrive, and to know that we really are changing lives, and not just, just a child's life, but a legacy that we're creating with our organization. And so I really thank, the Garcia Center for holding space for us to be able to come collectively and also be able to share what we're really doing here. And it's really amazing that, we can also share just the life that we're bringing back into the city, and we're standing true for what we believe in.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Me and my thoughts, my opinions, how I live my life. It's just, you gotta, nobody's gonna give it to you. You gotta just take it. You really just gotta take it. Especially dealing with when you're trying to do something good, that's been the weirdest thing in my whole life. Everything bad or negative was always supported. And now I'm really trying to do real big things on a national level. And everybody's like, oh no, that's the weirdest thing. I get DMs from councilmen and from Riverside, different organizations, and just, you know, like I get DMs, oh yeah, let's do this, let's do that. Like, cool, for sure. Like, and then you text them and then they never hit you back. Mm. It's like, first of all, you was in my DM. You know what I mean? I didn't hit you up. But hey, you know, taking up space is like you know, like it's, for me, that's just taking up, you know, taking the respect I earned for the community that they earn. Like, it's just taking it. Like, I'm at that point right now, you know, as I'm just gonna have to take it, you know, because nobody's giving up anything. And, you know, that's how I feel about taking up space, because there's so much negative space here. And I'm going to replace it with something positive. So I think that's what, you know, we plan to do with Just Planet and putting gardens in underserved communities, not just here. This is our starting point. We're building a business model to later try to sell to the USDA to implement that, to have grants available for people to apply for their grant, to have a garden in each city, in their underserved cities across the United States. So, you know, when I tell people that, you know, that I guess it's too big, or I don't know, but, you know, I just ignore it and just take whatever I need to take to get where I got to go. So
that's true, because for me, it's the same thing. It's taking up space is opportunity, education, being able to educate somebody on a garden and giving that person an opportunity to come work that garden. You know, a lot of times you can have people that are coming and not know, well, what is this? Or what are you doing here? Well, we're putting in a garden. We're doing something different here. And, can I help? I have people when I'm out there in the garden that will drive by and ask me those questions. What are you doing? Well, I'm out here creating the garden.
Yeah.
And, oh, really? I'll be back. I'm going to go get my family to come and help.
Exactly.
Okay, there's no money, but I can give you that education that you need. I can give you that opportunity to go and build a garden at your own house.
Yep, exactly.
You know, or do something, because we don't know what's going to happen. You know,
that's true.
We need to be prepared as people in putting in gardens in our own backyards. You know, because food is going to be scarce, I'm sure, like toilet paper was. What are we going to do?
And speaking on that, the USDA just gave out their last food box. So there's no more, they're not doing the food boxes. I totally forget what state they had it in, but that was the last food box that they're giving away. So that is huge when it comes to food security. Because now they're just going to, you know, start making it themselves, man-made food, you know? I mean, at that point, so.
The GMO is crazy, right? But, you know, taking up space to me, I know it means being able to disrupt the system mindfully, respectfully, being able to hold space for individuals that are in need, being able to provide food for families, but also being able to hold space to have like gardens and like wellness walks for them to be able to, you know, have this access to them in their communities to say, hey, wow, I can live, I can breathe, and I can be in this space, but also respect it. I can also, you know, invite my other friends to also see what's going on, and I could tell the community, but also I could be proud from where I'm from. And it's not about like, oh, you know, oh, where's San Bernardino? Like, no, I love San Bernardino. Do you know who's doing this and who's doing that? And also just like we meant, right, supporting one another, just to full-heartedly, like, and just full-forwardly, like forever. And it's, like I said, it's not going to just be overnight, but it's going to continue to take decades for us to really see change in our communities. But hold on to that truth and make sure that we are planting those seeds of hope in our minds. And so I'm so glad that, you know, through the work that I'm doing with Music Changing Lives, it's also sparked interest in me to start my own business of, you know, being able to provide mindfulness in the communities and also teaching people how to be themselves. And so I know that there's space for others to also see what that looks like, but also there's support and others that are going to also, help them move along as well in their life. And so taking up space is very important. But like I said, it's about doing it mindfully and correctly. And I don't want to do it fast. You know what I mean? I don't want it to be a fast process. I want to make sure I do it right. So the longevity of this life is, like I said, the legacy that we're building.
Yes. I think my concept of taking up space is in that realm because for me, it's more about presence, right? And being self-aware. I spent a good amount of time in Mexico with a couple other artists, and we were having a conversation, and the word self-love in Spanish is autoamor. And I was really taken aback by the auto part, right? Of like how in English, that would mean automatic, meaning it comes natural. And so many times, and in the discourse around self-love, especially in like Western societies, we hear like, you have to practice self-love and you have to learn to love yourself. But hearing autoamor, like automatic love, it means it's in us. It's intrinsic. We already love ourselves, right? It's just about continuing to nurture that and feed that, and to feel safe to feel safe to love ourselves, to feel safe to be proud of where we're from or what we're doing or who we represent, and to be proud of ourselves. And for a very long time, I was just an artist that worked out of my house, and installations are a newer thing for me. So it's new to take up space outside of my little studio or outside of my little paintings. And so I did have to take up space by having a presence and by knowing who I am. And I think, again, it goes back to everything we've been talking about, like empowerment and about compassion and empathy and love and self-awareness. And that's the first step to taking up space, is knowing who you are and knowing the steps that you're taking and knowing where you stand in order to understand the environment around you, knowing where you come from in order to know what you add to the environment around you. And so for me personally, taking up space is being very aware of my presence and being aware of the value of my presence, and being aware of when I need support to be my best self, and being willing to ask for that help.
Right.
That's true.
Yeah, and speaking of the help, and I get a shout out to Viva La Boba, because David and Tansu, who run the boba shop, gave us that opportunity to do that wall and to have this place over on D and 8th Street. They gave us that opportunity, so taking that opportunity to show others that this is what we can do. If given the opportunity, if giving the food that we need, the other people that can step in and help, Home Depot or Lowe's or all those other businesses that are around that can just step in and say, we are here to help. Let's do some things and change the environment that we're living in right now. So taking up the space is all of us helping, to take up that space. It's not just one nonprofit saying, well, we can do this. Well, I'm trying. I'm even at the point where Sisters We has taken the street that I live on, and we went in and got a sign, that says, Sisters We is occupying this space right here. Well, this street, I don't want trash. I want you to see what I'm trying to do to better the community, to help move things forward, put in a garden. If kids are down the street, I am just now seeing kids come out. I've been living in San Bernardino, like I said, all my life. And to grow up and see the children outside playing and taking up space.
Yes.
Well, this has been years, and I'm just now seeing that. Could it have been from the pandemic that the kids are really trying to come out? Yeah, but I'm sure that computers have helped to keep the children in the house.
Yeah. That's true.
We need to bring them outside.
Yeah.
And come plant. Come do something. Those children that I saw, I started talking to them, and they're asking me, well, what are you doing?
Yeah.
You know? Well, I'm putting in a garden,
Yeah.
you know. Oh, you want to come help?
That's true.
You know, so that is now my little friends, you know, so that they come, do you need me?
Right.
Sure do. So I'm finding that taking that space,
yes,
that to me is that taking up space, to helping those children to come out. The children across the street are now looking like, oh, there's little boys over there that, you know, and I'm sure that the little girls are kind of fancying the little boys, but it's really starting to be worthwhile.
Definitely. I totally feel that. Yeah, that's how where the garden is. I mean, a lot more kids come out. You know, they're always coming. They act like they're riding their skateboard, but they really being nosy. They're like, what's going on? You know, the neighbors, you know, they're like, oh, I can't wait. Like, let me know. I'll water it for you and stuff like that. And I think that's what we want, you know, like that's how I was raised. You know, I used to be outside and I had to be in before the lights went out.
The street lights.
And it wasn't just my mom I had to worry about. I had to worry about the neighbor because, you know, in the Black culture, it's like, oh, if you see my son acting up, you get the right to, you know what I mean? So that, you know,
true saying of a village.
Yeah,
it takes
you know,
a village. Yes.
I mean, that's what you call community. You know, you keep your kids in check, you keep everybody in check, and for the better. You know,
absolutely.
And you know, I think that's what we're trying to do, and I think that's what we're doing, anyways. Right now, I think it's happening. You know, all over, and you know, it'll all work out. I know it will.
Yeah, absolutely. Taking up space is definitely sharing your space, right? So that it grows and other people can share and we build together, for sure.
Yeah, you mentioned something very personal to us as well. The space out there in Viva La Boba, that wall, we painted the All Black Lives Matter mural. And so that was it's still a campaign we're running called No Justice, No Peace, which is KNO. And you know, we wanted to invite the community to paint by numbers with us so that they can see that, like, and be proud from where they come from. And you know, that was just honestly a moment that so much things happen within our organization, but that was really a profound moment because I was like, wow, you know, it was a girl's like 6th birthday. Like, you know, she'll remember that she painted for justice. She painted for the lives that were killed, that were murdered unjustly. And so we want to make sure that we invite the community out to also take up space, but also understand that you can be creative in a way, but we can also do this together. And that's where exactly like healing is in the community, and it is happening now. It is our time, and we will not back down. And so that's why I say I honor my ancestors, and I know the freedom that they fought for. That's why we're over here to make sure to make a difference.
Yes.
Right. As our ancestors started off with farming. You know, we think about that.
Truly.
You know, so we need to get back to some of that. I'm not saying that, you know, we need to go back and be cavemen. We certainly need to get back to some of our roots, you know.
No, it's true, especially with the health in both Black and Latino communities.
Absolutely.
You know, I think, you know, it's something in the food, you know. It's kids are getting younger, catching cancer out of nowhere. You know, they're spraying our foods. They're creating food, GMO food. So, you know, that's the big thing that we're trying to push. You know, bringing in more butterflies and bees, and it's like, when's the last time people see bees? You know how many times I ask people, they're like, it's been a minute. That's bad.
Yes,
you know,
that's real bad.
You know, we're just trying to not only, you know, help the people, but together, you know, as we pay it forward, people are going to start paying it forward. And then that's when everything starts build back up and, you know, get well. And I think, you know, we all are making that impact. And we just, you know, need a little help from the big brother.
Absolutely.
All right. Oh, that's a good one. I'll go. But anyways, I think what I'd like to see for the community is, like we've been saying, you know, just empowerment, you know, empowering them and teaching them new things and exposing them to new things. I think, growing up in the inner city, like myself, I didn't know nothing about gardening until I was in my 30s. That's just not heard, that's just kind of not in the Black household like that growing up, because we've always, my parents always had to work hard to put food on the table, pay rent. So I think, for me, it's just exposing and bringing new life into the kids, to the youth, to just people, someone my age that never left the city. I still know people that never left the city, that never went to the beach. You know what I mean? So I'm trying to do things to, bring them to new elements, because that's when the mind, can work better, and, just expose them to new things. So I think for me is definitely like just empowerment, like don't listen to what you see on the news or what they say about the city. Like don't prove them right, prove them wrong. You know what I mean? Kind of thing. So that's what I'm just trying to do on that level to, bring, people up to, how they should be.
And I think even with that, like it's about really changing the narrative into your own lens, and being able to really bring healing into the community. I know there's a movement we're really working on to get people involved, is really choose unity for community. That it's going to take you and I to continue to do the work, to see it flourish, to see it everlasting. And, we're building actually a global replication model, which is called, a hand up, not a handout. And shout out to just my brother, Jessica Bruny, because he started, becoming an activist when I was 6 years old. So I've seen role models. I had that support. I had that energy to embody who I was. But now we need to make sure that this can also be supported and can be sustained across the globe, in every community, in every underserved community, that as we plant these seeds, that they can actually continue to grow and thrive in our communities. So we're working definitely hard to make sure that that actually happens, and we can't just give up. When they say no, it's really just an acronym for next opportunity, to continue to figure out, how do we connect these dots to really thrive.
I would say I would like to see more respect. I think that you touched on it earlier. There's a large homeless population. There's a large mentally unstable population. There's a large population of people that need healing spiritually, mentally, emotionally. In poverty, there's a lot of trauma. And I think that a lot of times people who are experiencing these things are very easily dismissed, right? People with addictions. There's a large issue with drug addiction in San Bernardino. And from, like I said, my childhood was a little crazy and colorful. And from that experience, I know that there's something to learn from everybody. And respect is something that's earned. And I think that that there are people from all walks of life. We have something to learn from everyone, even those we think we have nothing to learn from. We probably have the most, right? Because there's the largest divide in perspectives, and there's a new way of seeing life. And I think as we give, we have to be willing to receive what these people are telling us, and connecting those dots, like with community leaders in the city, leaders in the county, to actually listen to members in the community. Because if we look back, you mentioned hand up, not hand out. There used to be a program in San Bernardino County called Moving to Work. And it's where the county of San Bernardino would match the savings of somebody that lived in low-income housing for 5 years. And they could use those funds to either purchase a home, open a business, or obtain a higher education. And then a lot of people don't know that if you have more than $2,000 saved in the bank, you no longer qualify for low-income housing. And so this was a way for people to save more than that and actually take a step in a positive direction for their lives. And I think, with the economy and so many things going on, there might not be opportunities like that anymore, but at least in listening to people and seeing what works and doing more of that, I think that all comes from respect. That comes from respecting individuals and actually believing them when they say we're hurting, we're poor, we're addicted, we have trauma. We've grown up in this culture of poverty, and it's affected me in so many ways, because you can give people all the opportunities in the world for education and access to thinking differently and travel and all these things. But if they're absorbing it through a lens of trauma and pain, they're never going to have the opportunity to appreciate what it is they're really being given. And if we respect people's perspectives and if we respect their pain, then we can really truly give them the tools to heal and then give them all the other, handouts or hand-ups or however you want to look at it, right? Like, I think it all comes down to respect.
I agree. It's the respect, and what you're saying, Jaymie, too, to me, it brings in teach a man to fish.
Mm-hmm.
You teach me and allow me to do things, especially here in San Bernardino. We have nothing to offer these people. The homeless have pretty much ran the city, from what I can see, over 10 years for sure. And it keeps getting worse.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, what are we going to do? And how do we help these people? How do we help each other? And respecting one another is very important, because I have to respect that homeless person, because I don't know what you've been through. I don't know your story.
Mm-hmm.
So teach me,
Absolutely.
and at least give me the opportunity to become something other than what I've had, because maybe I didn't have anything. Like you say, we struggled a long time. My parents the same. I saw them get up and go to work every day, and putting food on the table was not always easy, but my mother made it work. So for family and friends, I would tell them to help. Let's stop cutting each other down and making excuses and why we can't help one another. But we need to start there, respecting and helping one another.
Definitely.
Agreed. Sure.
I would like to see them actually do something. And this is a little critical, but, in the space that has been created, we've collected trash, and there's no effort to pick up the trash. There's no effort to even respond to calls to be a part of anything. There's no effort to even help us figure out jurisdiction or who lives where or what property lines are where. There's no support, no support socially, no support. And I mean that by social media. There's no support financially. There's no support in manpower. Everything that's happened thus far has come out of community pockets. Inland Empire folks just saying this is a good thing that you guys are doing and we want to support. Amazon came out and supported and gave us plants, a bunch of plants for the garden. And for Amazon to care about a tiny little corner in San Bernardino and the county and the city itself not caring, or, not even, they know we're there and are just kind of letting us do our thing, which I appreciate, right? But a little help would be nice. And I would like to see also the space be utilized as a way, again, to manifest respect between community members and community leaders, including authority. The police rolled by a million times, what are y'all doing? What are y'all doing? And we're very, very kind, but, I know that kindness doesn't extend to the entire community. And I would like to see that space be used. You see somebody going through something and they go and they sit and they meditate. And, if they happen to have an episode, which is possible, for that episode to be viewed with empathy and compassion, as opposed to an opportunity to detain someone, right? And that's a little maybe controversial for me to say, but I mean it. I would like to see the city actually support its community members by feeding into positive spaces for them.
Yeah, definitely. I'm along the lines with you, Jaymie. I mean, me, I'm a little rebel. I don't like to follow the rules because rules are made to be broken. And I look at truth, like I said, with my eyes. I don't need to hear anything. I need to see it. And I think with it comes to, people taking jobs, I think they should really consider, is that what they're built for? Because nobody called them and told them to come and sit in the office and take over a city and try to do this and do that. That was their decision. So I think it's time for, everyone to grow up and do what they need to do. Because this is a place of rich history. There used to be farming here. I just went over to another farm way down there. There's a family that's been there for 60 years. And it's all warehouses built around them, and they're thinking about selling their house and things like that. So when it comes to gardening and how effectful it could be, in communities, it's huge, because not only does it create more equity within the community, but it brings on a different life. It brings on new things for kids to learn. To clear their head, to just get their mind right, to eat. Now, someone can walk by my garden and pick an apple if they're hungry.
Yeah.
So it's like, when I look at all this that's going on, and I've reached out to the city thousands of times for different things. I don't need their help. I just said, do you want to support it? You know what I mean? That's it. And I never got a call back. So, for me, my attitude is I got to take my respect. I got to take everything that I'm doing. Nothing's going to be handed to me. I'm going to take everything I'm going to get. And when it comes to the gardening, because that's just one garden. I already have my eyes set on another spot. They're just going to keep happening until they do something about it.
Yeah.
That's just me.
That's me, Prime, too. One of the things that I do is we have the wall on 4th and E. It's one of my favorite spots. And creating that wall, bringing the children out from different schools, helping on the wall was just a wonderful feeling. And when you don't have the rest of the community helping, we're right across the street from the State Building. None of them came out. They came over and said, this is wonderful. What are you doing? And that was great. But in the long run, can you come help? I need support.
Exactly.
Financially and physically. Are you willing to give up that time to help us?
And stop hiding behind
hiding.
Bureaucracy.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And there's another place that we have on 8th and D that's going to be the community garden. Nice. Come out and help. Come out and support. I didn't know about your spot. I would have loved to just been over there to help and just to do something. I retired from the county of Riverside. And after retiring, I thought, oh God, my world is going to end. I'm not going to have anything to do. There is so much out here that needs to be done that we forget as people. Somebody else may need a little help. Go and support. Go and do something that will allow us to give a part of us, give something special that comes from us, because we stopped doing that. And like you're saying, a little time to meditate, a little time, a little bit of spirituality goes a long way if you just give a little bit to somebody else.
It's the legacy, that we mentioned. And for the city, I would really love to see more compassion, more kindness, being brought in to all the community members. For us to really uplift our communities, for us to revitalize our communities, for us to have that resource center and to have all the cars just continue to line up and see the families that are in need. Where is the support from the city? Where are they coming out to be like, hey, we love what you're doing, but also too, we want to support you,
that's
and
true.
just being able to how can we help you? How can we have a direct conversation? Let's sit down. Let's have a monthly discussion on how we continue to roll this out, but in different things. There's so many closed down centers. Let's turn these into wellness centers. Let's turn these into places that we can bring programs that people actually care about and want to do for the community, so that we can live the legacy, so that the next generation can be having something to give them hope. to place the seed of hope inside their hearts and minds. So we need to really care about the mental health, about the community, to make sure that we can have all the rest of the programs that can come in as far as them being able to do gardening, for them to be artists, to be who they want to be, truly.
Who they want to be, yes. Yes.
I think something that you said like kind of sparked a thought in my mind. You said, compassion for everybody in the community, right? And that includes the folks that I'm not going to speak for anyone. I'm personally criticizing, right? In local government, because there's another city that I work with. It's a affluent city, and it's just started its public art committee, and there is a lot of emphasis in like creating green spaces and conserving. There's like a big, beautiful plot of land that no one's allowed to build in because it's home to like a very rare bird, and there's a big emphasis on learning about like the Tongaland and the language and the culture and where certain words come from and the names of certain creeks and stuff like that, right? And that's all well and exciting, but also being a part of some of their committees, I can see how the bureaucracy just creates this like red tape that drags out stuff forever, right? So I guess maybe also expecting for community leaders to educate the community on why things are taking so long and why there is no funding for certain things. I think that transparency needs to exist so that people can understand how local government works, so that they can know who to talk to when they need something, and also know how to vote, right? And know who is moving that needle, and like who is creating those red lines, and who needs to be voted out and who needs to be voted in, right? Because it's local government it's easy to say that it's powered by the people, but realistically, like it's monopolized power.
Absolutely.
And if those people in power are not a direct reflection of the community and what the community wants, then the community needs education on how to have their leaders implement the things that they want.
Exactly.
For sure.
The pandemic has set us so far back. If you think about how our children had to suffer through that. They're sitting there wanting things to do. Well, now that it's easing up, what are we going to do? What are we going to show them now that they're free to roam about? What are we going to give them? What are we going to do for them?
Sure. It's just. Oh, sorry.
Go ahead.
No, it's like connection. They don't have no connection. They can't go to where I'm from and say anything. They will not listen to them because there's no real genuine connection. People can feel vibes. You know how they say people feel vibes? You know what I mean? Like you have to be able to, articulate or talk to and genuinely to different groups. I didn't make it from here from just, hey, I'm gonna chill with the homies right here. No, I'm in Beverly Hills. I could go talk to doctors. I'm versatile. I could talk with all of them. So I think with them, they go to school, they get this big chip on their shoulder, they get a degree, and they don't even know who the hell they're trying to preach to.
That's why they have to take off their robes. And we want to be able to create space for them to do that as well, right? Yeah. It's about choosing unity for community, but it's also like, okay, we know this is your title, but truly take off your robe, show us who you are.
Exactly.
Can you be humble, open, and transparent with us? What's going on? Accountable for your actions so that we can really understand truly how to move the needle forward.
That is true.
Right.
Yep.
And also, like an education and expression, right? You were talking about how you have this ability to move in different rooms and different environments with different type of people. Not everybody has that opportunity.
Absolutely.
My father
absolutely.
Was a high school dropout. He dropped out of school when he was 15. I helped him get his GED around 33. He's not a very articulate person. Mm-hmm. And his circumstances in life were crazy. And, my mom helped him learn how to read, helped him learn how to write. And he's a man of very, very few words. And even though he's not eloquent, the times that my father has chosen to speak up about something has resonated with me very, very deeply. And I think that it goes back to what we were talking about respect and about compassion, of understanding that just because somebody doesn't express themselves in the way that you do, or doesn't express themselves in the capacity or the eloquence that is normally considered like part of the decorum for, speaking with a community leader or speaking with someone in charge. It doesn't mean that they shouldn't be heard. It doesn't mean that they shouldn't be listened to. And so I think that education needs to go vice versa, not just teaching people how to articulate themselves better or be better writers or be better public speakers, but also teaching those people in power to be better listeners, right? Listeners of all types of expression, regardless of accent, regardless of somebody that barely speaks English because their first language is Spanish is probably more articulate and more educated than we can imagine because they speak two languages. So they have two ways of expressing how they feel, right? And then, plus all the experience that comes from that. And someone who expresses themselves through art or through music or, whatever that expression looks like, I think community leaders need to be willing to absorb more than just one type of communication. Yeah. And that's the way to move the needle.
Exactly. Like move as one rather than in groups. Because that's kind of what I see too. Unity. And what I've been around, like this person, don't talk to this person. Right. But you guys are all in the same, so that's the confusion too. And what they deal with. And then that overflows to the people. And the people at this point, they don't even care no more because they already know what's going on. And, I just think, I think everybody, including ourselves, I think we all, even them in the office, they have a little bit of, want to do right. But at the same time, they're fearful as well because I've sat in a lot of rooms where people that are, on boards or part of government, they're fearful for certain things. Yes. They cannot talk about, hey, Prime's doing this garden. Like sometimes Absolutely. That's a red flag. Like sometimes that's like, you better shut your mouth. Yes. Like you can get fired. No, and it's real, and they kind of put people in their places. And I understand. I know that there's people that really want to see good, but those people ain't powerful enough to speak. And those people still got to eat and take care of their families. So they're stuck in this position where their job can get, terminated for even speaking up on something good. So, I mean, I get it from both sides, but at the end of the day, the people know. I mean, we know, and it's time for change, pretty much.
Yeah. And I definitely want to commend, the community leaders at the forefront that's been continuing the mission. It's not just, it's going to happen overnight, right? We know that we're going to need patience and understanding of how we can continue to, create plans that actually are sustainable for the community. But we also do know that it's going to take, as I mentioned, just time to also communicate, right? I think the members like Eloise Reyes has supported Jose Medina, all these members of leadership, elected officials that have supported, music changing lives. But we also know that it's a continuing relationship that we're going to have to build. It's just not a one-time like hello and goodbye. Correct. So it's like sit down with us and really understand how we can really thrive together and really choose unity for our community because it's going to take you and I to heal this community together. From them listening to us, they now actions, like they actually need to come out to see where we are, to see how they can truly support us in our mission as well, but also tell others, about us and be able to showcase what we're doing in the community in a positive light.
Yeah, I would say for God's Waiting Room at Earth Strong Garden specifically, they could come out and help to maintain the property, like to pick up the trash and dump the trash. And for visibility when we do have events there and inviting, it doesn't even have to be invited. It could just be letting people know that the bench exists and that it's welcome to them to go and to meditate and have a space. And for the community leaders themselves to come out and have a moment on the bench and manifest because they're human too. And hope for whatever they want to hope for and to actually, that's how they could be a part of actually utilizing the space and the facility that we've created to
Absolutely.
So that they can
utilizing the space. Once you've helped, utilize it, do something in it.
Yep. To touch on it, that's exactly what they can do, come out and see and just, you got to witness it. You got to see it. You can't shut something down without even seeing it, you know? And I think, you know, as well as to add on what you said, you know, it's, you know, again, you know, they got to start, you know, respecting people more, you know, too, because, you know, I've sat in rooms, you know, and I've been talking to people for 20 years and I could read people like a book. They look at me like I'm some little young Black dude that don't know nothing sometimes. And I feel it and I see it. And I think a little bit of needs to come out of, you know, from them is, you know, just keep it real and, you know, just have an open ear and an open heart for the things that the people are doing, whether you like it or not. At least take a chance and, you know, visit, and then also clean, because in the garden, like we keep it up. Like if you see it, we keep it up. But on the outside, that's city property. They don't clean. They don't do the weeds. They don't pick up the baskets that, you know, the homeless leave in the street. Like there's just things around the garden that I'm like, look, like, wait a minute. You guys had over $100,000 budget for cleaning the city.
Yeah.
I've never, ever seen a cleaning truck. They have these trucks or cars called community service. And I laugh every time because what I do is called community service and I never see them get out the van. Yeah. So, I mean.
I think, like you said too, also coming to see the space, right? Because I think there's a lot to be said for the fact that when we were building that space, a lot of local businesses and people that are like, I've never seen anyone do anything on this corner for 20 years. Like, they're going to steal your lumber. They're going to graffiti on your board.
A lot of
they're going to, I had somebody tell me, are you sure this is what you want to build and where you want to build it? Because they will tear it apart and take your lumber, and lumber is expensive. And I was like, yeah, I absolutely want to be here. And our space, you know, knock on wood, and thankfully has not been defaced at all. And they have defaced other property right across the street and have chosen not to touch that space. And I think that that's because, you know, when people were passing by curious, we would talk to them and just treat them like humans. Instead, there's some wild folks that pass by.
Oh, yeah. Some
wild
folks.
And, you know, it's just like they're human too, and the space is for them. So we want them to feel welcome. And so I think, you know, coming out and seeing that interaction, and when a member of the community comes around who, you know, is a little colorful, you can actually have a conversation with them as opposed to like buttoning up your jacket a little more and holding your purse a little tighter and, you know, actually shake hands with them and listen to them and talk to them. Engage.
And that's what we were saying about the wall. No one has graffitied Black Lives Matter. That is just the coolest thing. I mean, I had on one of the pockets of the garden on the other side of that sprayed with a S, but other than that, there was nothing. You know, no one has come by and taken anything off of the wall. None of my plants have come up missing, and that to me says a lot. You know, that
it does.
It's really not the homeless that create that crazy environment. You know, sometimes it's some of the children that, you know, just need something to do. They need something to do, you know.
That's true you said that, because we were at the garden one day and we were just got done with the wall. I mean, the chalkboard where we let people write on whatever. And this lady comes by and she goes, "Oh, you're those guys. You're the people that have been doing this. I pass by all the time." Mind you, I've just lost somebody dug up one of the rose bushes. And we're just, but I was like, whatever, cool, whatever. And then someone took the sign. So I was telling her, I was like, yeah, this is the garden. I was talking to her and then I go, yeah, fortunately people stole this and stole that, but it's all good. She goes, wait. She goes, that yellow sign in the back? And she goes, oh, I took that. She goes, it was just, she goes, I love the artwork. I didn't want it to get stolen, so I took it. She goes, it's at my house right now.
Oh my goodness.
And I said, you know what? You could keep it. I was like, but you got to tag us in your photo in Instagram. And she did that, like, you know, and I think that was a really cool moment because, you know, stereotypically, you would think someone else would have taken that.
Yes.
Just, you
And
know.
also-
And the fact that she came back and said,
And
I
she,
did.
yeah. I said, she was bold.
Well, I think people are so used to being abandoned, right? The space is being abandoned, and so it's like,
Yeah.
oh, I'll just take it. You know, no one's taking care of it, so whatever. If I want it, I'll take it. And to create space for people, right? Like that's what the city can do, is to maintain spaces so that people can continue to utilize them.
Yeah,
for sure.
Or, you know, continue to show how we can show no justice and no peace in the community. And, you know, even down there when we were doing that, I know, you know, somebody from the community came out and they're like, this hasn't been closed off. I thought that, like, you know, in probably like the past 20 years, because every time it's because maybe somebody's like passed away or been killed down there. But I've never seen something like this. And so that's where we know that it is really, we are the ones that we've been waiting on to really show the change that we can see in the community. And also in a creative aspect, right? We were doing the anniversary near the resource center, and people were able to take the wellness walks, be able to vendor and show what they're doing in the communities. And we did get support, you know, from some elected officials, some council members did come, but we need more. It's just not going to take just one or two. It's going to take us all to truly make sure that the change is happening in our communities and the legacy is being built correctly.
And I love last Friday. So last Friday, they made me cry. No, it was like a meditation day though, right?
Yeah.
They did. It was unbelievable. I'll let her explain, you know, to you, but we, you know, it was like chance, you know, they're like, oh yeah, you go, you know, let people know about your week and, you know, share what's been on your heart. And, you know, me, you know, do what I do. You know, I keep a lot of things in. I just kind of channel it through gardening. You know what I mean? I stress, you know, therapy and all that. You know, I got to talking. I started, you know, crying a little bit. And, you know, but what they did last Friday, Music Changing Lives, I forget the, you know, the meditation session, but that ever since that day, I swear, like everything's been good. I mean, that week was heavy on me, like super heavy. But, you know, after that meditation day, it seemed like everything just, you know what? Amazon contacted me after that meditation. You know what I mean? They contacted me, you know, and that's what goes back to, you know, who's really watching, who's really paying attention. You know, we're doing things right under the nose of the city, and it took Amazon, you know, to, you know, give us what we needed. And, but anyways, that was great, that meditation day. And ever since then, it's been good. And I think that's something, like we say, we work together. You know what I mean? She's doing her meditation. I signed up for it, you know, to go
free.
And it's free, you know, and it was great.
Yeah.
So,
and I commend you for coming, because we do need more of a male perspective in those spaces. So just to kind of share, when George Floyd was killed and Breonna Taylor as well, that greatly impacted our community. And we knew that, you know, a sense of hope was lost. And so I came to my brother and I was like, you know, I want to make sure that we bring back positivity into our community. And so with everything kind of switching, we had to pivot virtually. And I was like, let's hold space for a day of healing. Let's be able to come together, have a healing circle. Let's be able to talk about social issues that are happening in our communities, but also practice wellness together. And so that actually has almost been a year now, where we've been holding space every fourth Friday of the month. And we've brought on other organizations doing the work so that we can also highlight them, because it's not just about us, it's about the collective. And also be able to practice how to meditate, how to breathe, how to do yoga, because it's not just a foreign thing, right? Anyone can be able to participate. But we were so honored about the Healing Circle because it allows voices to be heard. It allows space for others to be able to take up space in their own space and also share what they've been going through. You know, Primus didn't know that he was going to get choked up, or even didn't know when signing up what was going to happen. But that's where We know that choosing unity for community is the movement that we really need community members also to show up for. And so our next one is going to be August 27th. And so we're going to also still be showcasing women that are doing the work, men that are doing the work, but collectively coming together to heal into our communities. And so I really do thank you for showing up because, as I mentioned, there are probably like 4 other men on that call, but sometimes healing or meditation can maybe seem like a feminine thing, but no, we need to understand the duality of everything that we do. And so I'm really honored for, the NAACP of San Bernardino for being our partners, a compassionate region to being our partners to continue this. And this has actually been a global audience. We've been able to receive people from Hawaii or even Australia or Europe, like just seeing it because it's like an Eventbrite. And so everybody can be able to participate and sign up, but also just to be able to share. Like you mentioned, the pandemic set people back. The pandemic made people think like, who do I actually have in my corner?
Absolutely.
But when we actually know that you can just turn on Zoom and turn on a camera, you have community. You have people that actually care about you. And so once we can just continue to do that word of mouth and really do that marketing, but like we said, we really need people at the forefront, letting others know that this is available, that this is accessible, and that they can actually benefit from it as well.
Exactly.
Like we were saying, the nonprofits.
Yeah.
If there's so many of us here, we should be getting together. We should know who each other, who we are as a business, and collectively get together and do something.
Yeah.
As a collective, because that is a healing. That is just a power.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
We really need that. I think San Bernardino really needs that. It's some things that has been going on here forever that needs to stop. We need to be the people that we are and speak and do things to make that change.
I see. Oh, it would be really dope to have people come down to God's Waiting Room. It's on the corner of Baseline and Conejo.
Yeah.
We're going to be doing the planting there. If anybody knows of any other spaces where we can put more God's Waiting Rooms, so down. I have a really big vision for that. There's going to be a God's Waiting Room hotline, God's Waiting Room in a library. I want the most random places for God's Waiting Rooms, just so that everyone can feel welcome, all walks of life, all positions, all of that, from the highest to the lowest, should feel welcome. And so right now we've got God's Waiting Room San Bernardino. It's in the process of finally being beautified, and trees and plants, and it's going to be really, really dope. So I would love it for you guys to come down and just have a moment at the bench and write on the wall and be a part.
Yeah, and I'll be sharing a lot of that information too. We'll have a day where not only will the guests, be able to come and help us out and, just have a good time on finishing, but they'll be able to meet everyone on that block that isn't going to be invited. So I think it'd be important to, just hear the stories and just see the people, the faces that live on that street, because they are going to embark on something so perfect that they already started walking by like, oh, you got trees, fruit? Oh, yeah. So, Earth Strong is for everybody. It's open to the public, and, it's can't wait to, get it going. And that's just the first one. So if anyone knows of any spaces for gardens, I'll take it.
Well, Sisters We is putting in a garden D and 8th. So
nice.
We will be looking for you.
Let's do it.
Let's do something together.
We will.
And see if we can make a change, because that healing and all of the things that you guys are talking about here, this is what we have in mind.
Yes.
So we have that property. Let's do something.
Yes.
With Music Changing Lives, we've been here for 23 years serving the Inland Empire. And we want to make sure that we continue this, as I mentioned, the legacy. So definitely check out our website, musicchanging.lives.org, where you can share and see what we're doing, but get involved. We do work in the Redlands. We're actually we're going to be revitalizing the basketball courts this week. So that's going to be very, very exciting. And so I can't wait for that. But beyond that, I can't wait for the children to be able to see what's happening in their community and know that they were a part of it. We're just deeply honored to be able to do the work and to be able to stay true to knowing what is for us to do, to understand our calling, but also to be in alignment with all of the beautiful work that you guys are doing and to continue to be able to, like we mentioned, to put a hand up and not a hand out. We don't want just something that's going to be quick. If it's going to be fast, it's not going to be done right.
Exactly.
So once again, we just truly are just honored to be here in this space and to be able to share what's going on, but also extend the love and the support and compassion that we all need, truly.
Truly.
And then
Yes.
you guys can also find a lot of the information justplanet.org or daegardens.com. That is DAE Gardens with an S.com.
And we're sisterswe.org or .com. And we would love you guys to just come and see what we're up to.
Love that. Yeah, all the God's Waiting Room information is at godswaitingroom.world. That's Instagram or on www.godswaitingroom.world. It's all there.
Yeah.
We thank
Huge shout out to you guys.
Absolutely. Thank the God.
They're like, damn, you